Studies production. Please note that this evening is an assessment, and as such, it is extra important that you switch off your mobile phones. We invite you to be unplugged and to experience this interesting piece of theatre by being fully present. Note the exits to the auditorium. No photography is permitted throughout, but a program designed by student Remy Campbell is available for purchase. My name is Jade Kemp, and I am the Year 12 Theatre Studies teacher and director of this evening's performance. Of course, you can clearly see that I'm not Jade Kemp, but keeping within the conventions of the Baker Theatre, I ask you to suspend your disbelief and go on this journey with my past and present drumlins. I am passionate about the power of words. We use them to heal, and we use them to hurt. They have impact. From a baby's first words to the deathbed last words of a loved one. Can you imagine a world without "Mama, I love you. I believe in you. I'm sorry"? Or infamous words such as "I have a dream and such is life." Of course, without actions, words are meaningless. Yet so often we rely solely on what is said. I would challenge you all to stand up against bullying. It is no longer enough to simply not be a bully, but now so important to defend those being victimised. We can no longer stand on the sidelines. It is also important that we stand up and fight against hate speech, that we acknowledge that words such as bitch and labelling things inferior or boring as so gay is not okay. We have to stop the desensitisation of our language. I remember when these words would sting when heard. Why now do we hear them and have no reaction? My memories of high school were mostly happy. Yet there were instances that saw me being picked on for my lisp, for being slightly overweight, or for my obsessive love of boy band New Kids on the Block. Perhaps why I'm so quick to defend those who love One Direction today. Speaking to my students, I was saddened to hear about the stories of bullying that have impacted them. Words that they will carry through life in varying degrees. Whilst nothing permanent but strength and resilience came of my bullying, this is not always the case. How many of you would act when seeing a case of bullying? Do you encourage your students to report cyberbullying on Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat? Do we, as their role models, know these sites and the way they're being used? Instagram, a fun and quirky way to share your life with friends through a series of photos, is commonly used to take photos of others know nothing about, adding horrible captions to spread amongst peers. Snapchat was created so the user could take photos, record videos, add drawings and text, and send to a controlled list of recipients. Is in the hands of a teen seen as an excuse to cry YOLO and send all sorts of inappropriate images, thinking because of its self-destruct nature, they're devoid of any consequence. Too bad for the ability to screenshot. I am a media teacher, and as such, I am fascinated by the role of social network in our world today. I myself use it prevalently. People often feel the need to comment my Facebook usage, or how do you find the time? But just as others read books and magazines, I use the internet, and I see its great power for good. Society is so quick to condemn social networking and lay blame for the poor social skills of this generation on their cyber usage. But I believe it's about us as people and what we allow in and accept in our everyday interactions. Do we seek truth and authenticity? Or is it enough just to have a large Facebook friend tally? Collectively, my theatre studies students have 6,493 Facebook friends. Look around you at this auditorium. Where are all those friends now? I challenge my students to expect more and to use words and actions to promote tolerance and change. These 9 students are brave and courageous as they stand here ready to face judgment from you. Everyone is a critic, and you will all pass judgment on their roles and performance tonight. But in doing so, I ask you to think about your words, choose them wisely, and then think about the courage it takes to stand up here and act in front of family, friends, and strangers. I commend them for that alone. So if our piece of theatre impacts you tonight, even if just for a little while, I encourage you to go and spread love, either in the old-fashioned way, face-to-face, or through social networking. Tweet a review, take a photo in the foyer and upload it to Snapchat or Instagram, or create a Facebook status. Just be sure to hashtag it with cyberbile or Theatre Studies 2013.
For the past 5 months, the Unit 3 Theatre Studies students have collaborated to bring you tonight's performance of cyberbile. We have laboured intensively both on and off stage to bring you a piece of theatre that will challenge your thinking on an issue that is prevalent in all our lives, cyberbullying. We believe, as the Greeks did, that theatre's function is to create a social and to create a platform for public conversation, such as fear, vengeance, love, and power. Stand by Q3, go Q3.
What you're about to witness tonight will challenge you. As part of our studies, we've been exploring a theatre style unlike many others. A style that has grown in popularity in recent years. Verbatim theatre.
Also known as a documentary drama, verbatim theatre is a personal perspective on a political issue. Verbatim theatre is created from interviews on real people on a particular topic. After these interviews are complete, the playwright weaves together the different interviews to build a dramatic script. This form of theatre brings together different stories to create a script that is powerful and personal.
The intimacy which verbatim theatre creates allows the audience to experience the character as if they're speaking directly to them. Verbatim theatre is an honest and raw form of theatre that explores a real event or issue, weaving its story from the words and interviews of the people involved.
Verbatim theatre involves the creation of theatre that is drawn from the real spoken words from interviews with real people. It has been used to explore events in recent history, such as 9/11, the murder of Matthew Shepard, and the race riots in Los Angeles. It also documents the voices of people from the margins, such as homeless youth givers or caregivers for the Philippines.
Verbatim theatre is designed to deepen an audience's encounter and exploration of reality-based dramas. Verbatim theatre is not a form but a technique. A way of incorporating the words of real people in spoken interviews or on public record and making them into drama to challenge the way the audience thinks.
One of the reasons that verbatim theatre is so well suited to this type of conversation is that narrative theatre has at its heart the process of empathy. The very experience of watching a story unfold on stage triggers identifications. These new identifications crack open our comfortable, sedimented, everyday identities and generate reactions and questions. And when a culture grapples with these questions together, it begins to change. Reality television and cable news don't ask us to identify. They ask us to judge. They ask us to stand outside what we are watching, even while we indulge in and are entertained by the spectacle of it all. Narrative theatre asks us to stand inside, to identify with the characters at the heart of the story, to see those characters in ourselves and ourselves in them. If we do what the play asks of us, we are automatically involved and implicated in the story that we are watching. And when the story that we are watching is based on truth, as it is in verbatim theatre, then we are implicated even more. This, we believe, is why verbatim theatre can bring about a social change.
Not because it pumps its fists and warns us all of the grave dangers our society is facing, but because if you tell a story in the theatre, and you tell it well and clearly, the audience will empathise. And if the audience empathises, They are implicated and involved.
Done right, verbatim theatre can involve us all on immediate human levels in stories that are created around us in reality every day. Stories we may think are not our responsibility, but which in fact affect us all. Verbatim theatre can show us that, as long as it refrains from telling us that this is true, and in so doing can help raise all kinds of questions we desperately need to ask as a society.
We believe that theatre, where there is no screen between the audience and the performer, where we are not abstractions of one another, but living, breathing beings, is the place to do this.
We owe it to ourselves, to each other, and to our culture to make each other's stories our own.
Through this experience, we have learned that theatre isn't only there to entertain us.
Good theatre will challenge our thinking. It will help us to do better, to be better, and to change. And the very best theatre will make us leave feeling inspired, and if we're extra lucky, entertained.
So we ask you to go on this journey with us. We have invested our hearts and souls. We have all worked in different stagecraft areas to literally create what you're about to see, in addition to creating the characters that you are about to get to know. You will see some of us play multiple roles,
Through a convention known as transformation of character.
signified through our costume changes. You will be transported to different locations and times,
Transformation of time.
and you will see our interpretation of some deep themes associated with bullying. Please remember that as the ticket and posters warn, there are some issues that we're about to explore tonight that you may wish to have a meaningful conversation about at a later point. Just as John said earlier, what you're about to witness tonight will challenge you. And we wouldn't have it any other way.
I guess I was sitting at my computer and I was replying to an email and I just typed one word that was stronger than I usually use. And the word was slut. And I just typed it and it felt good to use a stronger word. And I sent it off and nothing happened and it sort of just went from there. I would describe it that as I started using stronger and stronger words, it felt like I was releasing or something. Like the nastier and more forceful words on the screen were. Like I found this total word for it, which is vitriol, and that's what it's like. Like by shooting this bit into an email, then the less there was in me, and I have to tell you that felt good. And so, I found myself actually looking for situations where I could really overreact and spill that bile out of me. Mostly anonymously.
Yeah, I really liked it when performance groups, particularly in certain schools. And people, well, because I like to watch the reaction. Even if people are really upset, it's not like I'm heartless. It's just that I'm kind of more absorbed about watching their reaction than caring about what they're going through. Which sounds harsh, but I don't mean it like that. I mean it like it's you're in a show or a movie or something, and you're the one pulling the strings. You can't admit that that kind of power isn't cool. It's way cool. You write something, and then in the real world, if people you know, it's affected them, like big time. I bet I'm going to get into trouble anyway.
This whole thing about cyberbullying, I'm just so over it. Because I like to use the internet to say what I think. And if that's going to be like bullying, then I'm up for that. I mean, you hear people say that someone online told them they were fat or ugly, and they're really devastated by that. And I mean, honestly, I just have no tolerance for that kind of indulged, overprotective princess behaviour. And it takes little old me to give them a reality check, then so be it.
Hello, and welcome to the world of social networking and online bullying. My name is Oriana Matthews, and I'm a student here at Silver Bottle High. Earlier this year, we conducted a survey of our students' experiences with online friendships, and these are the results.
Nah, don't say these are the results.
But they are the results.
Yeah, but you sound like you're announcing the Eurovision Song Contest bonus score. Ha! Ich hab noch Sweden and wir haben gesagt von der Swedish.
That's racist.
Everyone makes fun of Eurovision.
Well, I don't think it's funny.
Fine.
Should I explain how we conducted one-on-one interviews from students from year 7 through to 12?
You mean girl-on-girl interviews?
What's wrong with you today?
Nothing. I'm always like this.
So just quit.
Who's a cranky pants SpongeBob SquarePants today?
I'm not.
Is this stuff getting to you? The results from the Swedish jury?
No. I think the stuff that the bully sent in is kind of gold.
It is, isn't it?
No one was owning up to it on the surveys though.
Maybe I might have bullied one, but I didn't realize I was doing it. Yeah, right. I didn't realize my pants were on fire.
You have a fixation on the word pants today.
I'm not.
How so?
Speaking of bullies,
Yeah, well. Setting up a sub that can send stuff in anonymously has really worked.
sure has anything else come in?
Sort of.
How can something sort of come in?
But it's not.
Oriana Matthews, you dumb slut. Stop working on your cyberbullying bullshit, or we will stop you because you're sick trash. You're nothing but a fake whore who thinks that she's better than other people.
So, they just texted me.
Sounds like they're threatening you.
No.
Don't you think we should report that to Miss Harlow?
No way.
Why not?
Because then she'll stop the project.
They won't. They'll just trace them.
Oh, and that becomes the story of this project that we ran to the teachers as soon as it started getting interesting.
You don't have to say that.
It's verbatim. It has to be authentic.
Not totally.
Yes, totally.
Fine.
If it happens again, then we'll talk about what to do.
But meanwhile, the research becomes the research?
Well, sometimes the journalist becomes a story. You, I get bullied. It's pretty different. I guess just to me it's really normal because I've always had it. So I'm used to it. I even got offered a voiceover job on a film once when I was 13. I didn't get it, but they did these tests and stuff. And the director said he really loved it. You know, my voice. Some people think it makes me sound masculine. I suppose. But it's not masculine, it's just deep. Plenty of women have deep voices, and husky voices. Heaps. Even red hair actresses sometimes do stuff to make your voice deep and husky. Like, smoke, I guess. Anyway, there's this one girl. She was sort of a friend of mine for a while. And then she turned really nasty. Like, started to ignore me and stuff. Like, I'd say hello and she'd just ignore me. So I knew something was wrong. And then started getting these really heavy emails saying I was basically a man. And I was probably deformed and she couldn't stand to be around the sound of my voice. Just like a sleazy old man in a pub. And all this stuff. I didn't tell anyone about it for a long while. Even though I know you're supposed to. I guess I was deep down really ashamed myself, so it's not that I felt justified. More just the fact that I didn't know people think it was fair enough because my voice is so deep. I'm not explaining it properly, but since I've got older, I realised that people can hurt you most with the things you dislike about yourself the most. When we did Othello for drama, I realised that. Anyway, the thing you doubt about yourself is a place they can really get in. Big time.
We have these school trips. We go hard on excursions. And that's where this particular bullying started. You have to share, and I was sharing with this girl who was in a form lower than me. And anyway, she saw that I was reading this Mills and Boon. At first, she was just razzing me, as if it was a joke. You know, swooning about, making up really cheesy lines that she was the handsome heroine. And then at night, she would wake me up and started reading bits of the book to me. Like in the middle of the night, and I was in a really deep sleep.
It was really weird. And then, when we got back from the trip, I kept getting these emails with quotes from various Mills and Boone in them, and no name signs. But, of course, I knew it was her. And the trouble with it is that she could have just said that the whole thing was a joke between friends, and that's what she told me she would say. Even when I told her I didn't like it, because then she started posting stuff about how I never had a boyfriend, and I never would because I was really frigid. And because I'd never had a boyfriend, everyone believed her, and there was nothing I could do. I was in real trouble there for a while. Sorry. It obviously still gets to me that even though in my head I'm totally over it. Sorry.
Last year, I was in Germany going to school there and stuff. When I was over there, I was checking my Form Springs account and there were lots of comments saying like, don't come back, nobody likes to support apply, and stuff like that. But luckily, I'm a strong person, and that stuff really didn't get to me. Well, the other main thing is, I have this boyfriend. Like, he's 18 and stuff, but it's no big deal. We're like best friends. But people go to his Form Springs and they're like, oh man, she's 14, we've lost so much respect for you. Then they go to my Form Springs and they're like, oh, what are you going to do with him and stuff like that. I just find the whole thing so amusing. We go to like family dinners and stuff, and we're literally best friends, and I just don't get the big fuss. But then people are like, if age is just a number, then jail is just a cell group. Like, he's not some big predator. He's not going to jail. I just find the whole thing so amusing.
I had a dream that was not all a dream. And in it I was stalked by horned creatures and bullied. And my sheets were wound around me tight as the night, wrapped like a cocoon, like a worm. And their weapons were not knives, were not swords, but felt the same. Their weapons were words used commonly, brute, raw, without beauty or clarity, only short, vulgar words to seal my misery. Words like blades, their edges sharp and razor-like. Awake, my helpers, and come, my friends, for I am needled with cruel jokes, and my courage is falling away from me, and my confidence seeps out of me like blood.
Do you get days when, like, you're just so tired?
Maybe you should rest.
Can't. I have to collect the new replies that have come in.
So you've seen what? Do me a favour and delete your Form Spring account.
Why? It's not nothing. It's just some weirdo.
You don't want to see it.
Well, just tell me that. I have herpes. I don't have herpes.
They're going to make it your thing.
But it's not true.
What should become true?
It can't come true.
Of course not.
What do I do?
It sort of doesn't really matter what way you respond to it, because with a case like this, if you say no, people are just going to think that you're hiding something. And if you joke about it, they're going to say that you're trying to hide the truth. And if you get angry, they're just going to say that you're lying about everything. So it's sort of one of those things you just can't win. But on the other hand, you can't let it go unchallenged, because then everyone will just think that it's true.
The post of the date I went to the doctor as evidence.
So they've hacked your email.
Are you joking?
Did you confirm the doctor's appointment on an email?
No. On SMS. Oh, there was one email.
So...
But it wasn't even for that. It was a what happens is that everything turns to crap. What if you can work out who it is? And why would you want to do that? To find out what people think of me. I'm curious. But you don't even know if it's someone that you know.
Well, they have to type in my name for it to come up, so they must know who I am.
Oh, so that's worse then. Some sicko you know is doing this? Saying things, what, behind your back that they wouldn't say to your face? Or maybe they don't even mean it. Maybe they just want to see how you react.
So I'll show them. If this survey's taught me anything, is that you've got to stand up to them, hearing. And if I can't work out who it is, then they'll get exposed in this project. Big time humiliation. So, I'm a woman. Obviously, I'm a young woman. And here's the scariest thing about what goes on. Well, that's not what I mean by the scariest thing. But the scariest thing is this. You scratch just underneath the surface of what boys are thinking, and you get this massive, massive dose of misogyny. They call you a slut. They call you a whore. They brutally rate you on your physical attributes like a meat market. Like, I wonder if we are the first generation where the ugliness of adolescent men and the ruthlessness of young women is right there, in a mass print. It's just the sheer organisational hatred that just gets me. Am I making any sense?
I had a dream that was not all a dream, and in it I was trapped in a web, not of my own making, and lines of lies were wound around me, indelible as the past, forever available. And this weapon was not poison, was not acid, but felt the same. Their weapon was rumour and lies, forever suspended on servers, cruel, wrong, without the possibility of compassion or forgiveness. Awaken my courage and calm my faith, for lies are written on my body and my sanity is falling away from me. My hope leaks out of me like hot tears.
What's happened?
Nothing.
It's not nothing.
It is. I'm just being late.
Oriana.
I can't.
I'll be you. I'll be you. Where did I go?
Party.
The party at Emmeline's?
Why weren't you there?
I wasn't invited.
You beat me.
I'll be you. Invited to a party at Emmeline's. And who are you?
This guy.
Which guy?
Just a guy.
The guy from the beach? He was there. What happened?
Well, you know how I'd seen him that time on the beach and he bought me that can of Coke?
You liked
I
him.
thought he was okay.
You liked him.
Maybe I did.
Yeah. What happened?
I went to the kitchen to, I don't know, get something. And he just came in and just said, he asked me if I, you know,
What? I'll be you.
he said that he liked me, but he needed to know if I really had herpes or not.
He did not.
He did, which because me looking at my Forward Spring profile.
So you just said, no, of course I don't.
That is what I said.
And that's it? I mean, that's what you said to him.
Oh, I was so shocked and I went all red in the face and I just stood there and shook my head and then he just looked at me and then looked away and said, yeah, whatever, and then just left me standing there.
Oh, well, you won't be so shocked next time. I mean, the next time you see him.
Selena, that information is up there forever
You
now.
can delete it.
What about the next party I go to? Or not, more than likely.
You'll be laughing it off by then.
I won't. told you to report this. What if it was him? What? What if he was the one that wrote I had herpes and then just asked me to see if it affected me? I thought you liked him. He reckons I've got herpes.
Yeah, but was he like really asking, or was he just, I don't know, trying to see if it had affected?
How should I know?
Or was he joking, or was he sincere?
I don't remember.
So what'd you do then?
Got wasted. Why? Because that's the sensible thing to do when you're upset.
Ariana, that's not like you.
I don't have herpes either, but apparently that's down my profile.
It's not.
You're never going to another party.
You will.
What would you know? You weren't even invited. I'll upload whatever comes in.
Alright. Seriously, I'll finish this. You should rest.
Okay. Sorry.
Don't worry about it.
Celine.
Don't worry about it.
Yes, I'm a bully. But I'm not the Dexter of bullies. You know Dexter, the TV show. Well, there's this TV show about this guy, and he's a serial killer. But he's like a really good serial killer. He is. He only kills people who are already murderers or child molesters. He's kind of like an avenging angel. Well, I'm an avenging bully for my friend. She had sex with this guy, and then he blogged about it. In explicit detail, this scum. And so I started to bully him back. Like for her. I put up stuff about how I'd slept with him too. And he had a really small... And he was really hopeless and he cried and stuff. I know it wouldn't have affected him one bit, but it just felt so good to get words up against him, the scum. He totally deserved it.
Ariana Matthews is just a tease, bro. She can't make up her mind. She's not worth it. You should in no way consider asking her out.
How do you think she got the herbs name? She goes with the most feral guys. You know about her. Who wants to mess with some herbs-affected hole? I would. Just get a picture, you know. Ask her to send a photo of herself. Ask her for a topless first and see if she will.
She will, man. She's a total slag, that one. Make sure you pretend to be nice, though.
Best time to do it right now. She wants to get back in with everyone, so for sure she'll send it. Go for the full naked view. Get it on your phone so we can all see it. What if she gets the cops involved?
They never do. Posh schools like to build a family eternally. They never get the cops involved. Even if they find you, which they won't, Motion gives a slap on the wrist.
And you get the big Ariana nude on the neck. You gotta get her drunk again. At a party, go up nice if she's got herpes. That'll make her reach for the bottle.
Then, when she's smashed, you gotta film it.
Topless. All the bases in a home run.
And if she turns you down, we'll say she's a frigid.
We'll say she's a desperate tease even if she does it. She deserves it, man, because she is frigid. Didn't you know hoes will work with beats?
That's because they're all drug scum, man.
That's how she got the herb. From a little host scum mates on the beat. But she's gotta get her back on film. I had a dream that was not all a dream. And in it I was slicked with substances like oil, like garbage, and the casual nastiness of it stripped away my innocence and tore away my trust, and no amount of tears could wash away the contempt. And I itched, and I scratched, and I wiped at the muck, at the stink of careless bile, and I lifted my head to the heavens and cried, why is this happening to me? What have I done to deserve this? All I did was try and talk about what's happening, and I thought I could take it. Come back my ignorance, return my joy, for I've stripped back the mask of adolescence, and my sanity is shriveling on the vine, my grip on reality is loosened beyond all saving.